You know, most people spend their entire lives chasing money, running toward it like it's some golden prize waiting at the end of a long and twisting road. But here's the truth most never hear. Wealth isn't just a number sitting in your bank account. It's a mindset. It's a daily discipline. And more than anything, it's a personal philosophy about how you see yourself and the world. While 97% of people remain stuck in a loop of scarcity, constantly stressed, hustling just to stay afloat, there's a small 3% who've cracked a very different code. They understand that true financial freedom has less to do with how much money you make and everything to do with how you think, how you act, and how you grow day after day. Decision after decision. It's not about luck. It's not about having the right degree or knowing the right people. It's about how you see the game and how you choose to play it. This shift in perspective, it changes everything. Today, I'm not just here to talk to you about making money. I want to take you beneath the surface so you can think like the wealthy. Because once your thinking shifts, your actions follow. And when your actions shift, your results change permanently. Because here's the raw truth. Poverty begins in the mind long before it shows up in your wallet. And wealth, it begins the moment you stop walking the path. Everyone else is on end. Start rewriting your own story about money, success, and what's possible. So let me ask, are you ready to understand why most people stay broke and how a few rise above the crowd and break free? Then lean in, because what we're about to unpack might just be the most important conversation you ever have about money. Let me start by sharing something simple, but incredibly powerful. If you ever want to build real wealth, not just a bigger paycheck or flashier lifestyle, you've got to pay yourself first. That's rule number one. Before you pay your landlord, the taxman, the grocery store, or even your electricity bill, you must pay your future self. That means saving first, not last. Now, I can already hear the common objections, but I don't make enough. And I get it. I've heard it 1,000 times. But the truth is, wealth doesn't come from how much you make, it comes from what you keep. And even more importantly, from what you do with what you keep. Wealth doesn't respond to income. It responds to discipline. Let's break it down. Say you get paid. It's not a fortune maybe, it's $500 for the week. What do most people do? They start subtracting. Rent, groceries, gas, weekend plans. And by the end of it, maybe there's $10 left hand, they tell themselves. Maybe next month, I'll start saving. But the wealthy flip the script. They subtract their future first. They take 10%, sometimes 15%, and set it aside into savings, investments, maybe even a bit of gold. Then, and only then, do they let the rest handle life's expenses. I learned this lesson when I was flat broke sitting at a small, wobbly table with more bills than dollars. My mentor looked me in the eye and said, "Don't wait until you have more to start. Start with what you have and watch it grow." So that's what I did. I started small, just $1 out of every $10. It felt like nothing, but that tiny habit, it taught me ownership. It taught me control. I stopped being a slave to money and started becoming its master. Because here's the deal, you've got to tell your money where to go before it disappears and you're left asking where it went. And no, paying yourself first isn't selfish. It's not about hoarding money, it's about planting it. Every dollar you save or invest is like sending a worker out into the world working for you, bringing back value. The question is, are you building a team of workers that brings you a return? Or are you spending them all on quick pleasures and wondering why your life never changes? That's why I tell anyone who's ready to escape the 97%, the day you decide that your future is worth more than that daily coffee. That impulse, buy that short-term fix, that's the day you step into the mindset of the 3%. Not because you suddenly earn more, but because you finally think better. And here's a truth that many don't want to admit. Most people spend money emotionally. They buy things that feel good in the moment, a fancy coffee, the latest gadget, a night out to escape the stress. It's not really about the item, it's about the feeling. But what if that cycle could be broken? What if you could train your brain to choose long-term peace over short-term relief? That quick purchase might bring a moment of relief, but that relief fades fast. And once the money is gone, so is the comfort it brought. That's why so many stay stuck constantly chasing the next temporary high with dollars that could have built something lasting. The majority, the 97%, live paycheck to paycheck, not because they don't earn enough, but because their spending is led by emotion, not vision. Now compare that to the mindset of the 3%. These people don't just spend, they invest. And no, investing doesn't always mean stocks, mutual funds, or complex financial tools. It means intention, education, debt freedom, or long-term wealth. They're not buying pleasure, they're buying freedom. This difference in thinking is what separates the broke from the wealthy. When someone in the 3% buys a coffee, it's not because they're stingy or can't afford it. It's because they've already asked themselves, does this purchase move me closer to my goals or pull me farther away? That one question, simple as it sounds, is a game changer. I remember early in my career, when money was tight and temptations were everywhere, I wanted to spend on things that made me feel good in the moment. New shoes, nights out, the latest gadget. But I noticed something about the people around me who were slowly building real stability. They weren't earning more than I was, but they had a habit I didn't. They paused before every purchase. They asked, is this something that supports my future, or just a quick emotional fix? And that single pause made all the difference. Over time, those small choices added up. They had savings, they had investments, they had options I didn't. That's when I realized spending with intention isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. It's knowing your priorities and not letting fleeting emotions hijack your financial future. Discipline, control, vision. These are the traits that guide the 3%. They know that wealth isn't just about how much money flows, and it's about what you do with it. Every dollar has a job. It's either building your future or someone else's. It's really that simple and that profound if you want. To shift into the 3%, start now. Not with more income, but with a better question. What is my money working for? When your spending is aligned with your goals, you're no longer just living, you're building. That's when you stop chasing lifestyle and start building a legacy. But let's go even deeper. Because here's another truth many overlook. One of the biggest reasons people stay broke isn't about income, it's about awareness. They don't know where their money goes. It slips away quietly, like water through their fingers unseen, unmeasured, unchallenged. And without realizing it, they spend their lives financially blind. The 97% often live in the dark. They guess, they hope, and they shrug when things don't add up. But guesswork doesn't build wealth. Clarity does. I've met so many people frustrated with their financial situation. And yet, when asked if they track their money, their answer is always the same. I don't want to obsess over it. Or worse, I'll figure it out somehow. Let me be. Claire, you cannot manage what you don't measure. It's like trying to steer a ship without a compass. You might feel like you're heading the right way, but chances are you're just drifting. The 3% are different. They know exactly where every dollar is going, not to control everything, but to gain power. That kind of clarity lets them plug the leaks, identify opportunities, and make informed choices. And tracking, it's not about fear, it's about freedom. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware. When I first committed to managing my money, I started simple, a financial journal. Each week, I wrote down what I earned, what I spent, what I saved, and what I invested. Some weeks, it was uncomfortable. I saw where my money went, and often, it wasn't serving me. I saw expenses I couldn't even remember making, but that weekly it became my compass. Because here's the truth, what gets tracked gets transformed. Once you start logging your money's journey, you naturally start making better decisions. You notice you're dining out more than you thought. Or those late-night online purchases, they start to feel less satisfying. Awareness alone shifts your behavior, and with real numbers in front of you, you can finally set achievable goals and actually hold yourself to them. You don't need a big salary or a finance degree to start. You just need a notebook, a spreadsheet, or a simple app, whatever works for you. The secret isn't sophistication, it's consistency. Track your money every week, review it honestly, adjust where needed. Over time, this one habit becomes the foundation of your financial transformation. If you're serious about moving from the 97% to the 3%, here's where it starts. Get ruthless with clarity. Know exactly where every dollar is going, because where your money goes, your future follows. Now, here's a common trap that keeps so many stuck. They believe the answer is to work harder. More hours, more hustle, more effort. But while hard work is noble, it's often the slowest road to financial freedom. Why? Because people don't pay for time, they pay for value. I remember early in my career, I fell into that same mindset. I was grinding, clocking long hours, thinking if I just put in enough time, the money would follow. But the money didn't, not really. And then it hit me. You can work 10 hours doing something anyone can do, or you can spend 10 hours doing something no one else knows how to do, something unique, something that solves real problems. That's when everything changed. The wealthy understand this at their core. They don't just invest time, they invest in themselves. They learn skills that multiply their impact. They develop communications so they can influence and inspire. They master leadership so they can guide teams, build vision, and drive results. They study sales so they can open doors, create value, and close deals. They gain financial literacy. Their money starts working for them. These skills are like compound interest for your career. The more you learn, the more you earn, just financially, but in opportunities, freedom, and leverage. So here's the shift. Stop chasing more hours. Start becoming more valuable. That means reading, practicing, trying, failing, getting up, and stretching your limits. Because when you do, the world starts to reward you differently. Doors open, people notice, and you're no longer just earning a paycheck here, building a platform. Ask yourself right now, what skill can I develop today that would make me irreplaceable tomorrow? What value am I capable of delivering that others overlook? Because the moment you stop measuring effort and start maximizing value, you step into the mindset of the 3%. And that's when real wealth begins to flow. But here's the thing, success doesn't come from a single heroic action. It's not about one bold leap. It's about ordinary habits done extraordinarily well and done consistently. That's where most people fall off. The 97% often rely on motivation or willpower to save and invest. They start with good intentions, but then bills come up. Life gets chaotic, and their best-laid plans fall apart. The 3%? They don't rely on motivation. They build systems. Systems eliminate guesswork. They remove the pressure of constant decisions, and they work even when you don't feel like working. One of the simplest but most powerful systems is automation. Set up automatic transfers so a portion of your income goes into savings or investments before you even see it. That's paying yourself first, made effortless. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You don't have to think about each one. You just water them regularly and let time do its work. Another key system, technology, budgeting, apps, spreadsheets, even alerts. All of them give you instant insight. You know where your money is going, where you're bleeding cash, and where you can redirect resources to grow wealth. That awareness leads to smarter decisions, not emotional ones. And don't forget about dollar cost, averaging, the habit of investing a fixed amount at regular intervals. No matter what the market's doing, it removes the stress of trying to time anything. Instead, it turns investing into a predictable rhythm, not a gamble. Over time, these small, automated investments quietly grow far more reliably than the big emotional decisions that come and go with moods and market headlines. I remember when I first set up automatic investing, I wasn't making much, but I committed. Week after week, month after month, money flowed into my portfolio. At first, it felt insignificant, but years later, those steady contributions became a serious nest egg. Not because I was disciplined every day, but because I let the system carry the load. The truth is, relying on discipline alone is a losing game. Discipline fades, energy fluctuates. But systems run quietly in the background, day in and day out, building momentum even when life gets messy. And if you want to know what separates the successful from the stuck, this is it, the 3%. Don't just hope for success, they engineer it. But what happens when those systems become rituals, daily habits, so natural and ingrained that success is no longer a hope, but an eventuality? That's exactly how the 3% build wealth. Not through willpower alone, not by waiting for the perfect moment. They build it by design. They don't rely on motivation to strike like lightning. Instead, they build systems that support them, systems that run on autopilot. Automated savings, automated investments, automated tracking, each piece working in the background, like gears in a well-oiled machine. Wealth isn't built in one big dramatic moment. It's shaped in the quiet, consistent choices made every single day, and the 3% know this deeply. They understand that it's not the grand gestures that lead to success, it's the small, deliberate actions done again and again, the kind that, at first, feel too tiny to matter. But think about it. How many times have we dismissed a good habit because it seemed too small? Reading 10 pages of a financial book every day might feel like a drop in the ocean. But over time, that's hundreds of pages, thousands of insights, and an entirely new mindset taking shape. Knowledge compounds, just like money. Even reviewing your financial goals each morning might sound trivial, but that 30-second ritual anchors your attention. It reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing. It turns your day from reactive to intentional. And let's not forget one of the most powerful habits, investing on even if it's just a little. It reinforces the philosophy of paying yourself first. It gets your money working for you, not just disappearing into bills and wants. Thanks to the magic of compound interest, those small deposits grow into something meaningful. Another quiet discipline, cutting one unnecessary expense each week, not in the name of restriction, but in the name of conscious spending. It's not about sacrificing everything. It's about prioritizing what matters most. The 3% constantly examine where their money flows. They redirect it from short-term pleasure to long-term impact. I remember when I started doing these things, I wasn't wealthy, far from it. But I committed to the process, reading, reviewing, investing, adjusting. Those small, almost invisible steps didn't feel like much at the time, but years later, they completely reshaped my financial life. So here's the truth. Don't wait for the perfect moment or for more money to get started. Begin with what you can control: your habits. When these actions become rituals, they become the bricks of your financial foundation. Because wealth isn't an event. It's not something that happens to you. It's a process you live day in and day out. Financial independence isn't some fancy phrase for the elite. It simply means this: you can live comfortably from the income generated by your own efforts and resources. Now think about that. If you're relying on just one paycheck, you're essentially standing on one leg during a storm. It's unstable, it's risky. The 3% know this. They don't place all their hope in a single job. Instead, they build their financial future on multiple pillars of income. Imagine your income like a table with 4 legs: your job investments, side businesses, passive income, like royalties or rental streams. The more balanced those legs are, the sturdier and more resilient your financial life becomes. Relying on just one income stream, that's like putting all your eggs in one basket. And we all know what happens when that basket breaks. But don't worry, you don't need to build all 4 legs at once. You just need to start. Maybe that's a small side hustle. Maybe it's learning about basic investing. Maybe it's monetizing a skill you've had for years but never explored. A side hustle isn't just about earning more, it's in education, in entrepreneurship, in problem solving, in ownership. It teaches you to create value that's separate from your 9-2-5. Even small. Regular investments into index funds or dividend stocks can slowly build a second income stream. And over time, these streams multiply. The real beauty of multiple income streams: they protect you. If one leg wobbles, you lose your job, or the economy shifts, your other streams keep you grounded. You're no longer stuck. You have choices. You have breathing room. I remember clearly when I began building secondary income. It wasn't easy. I made mistakes. I faced setbacks. But slowly, those extra sources became lifelines, giving me freedom I didn't have before. When one opportunity closed, others were already waiting. So if you want to build a strong financial future, don't put all your faith in a single paycheck. Create layers of income no matter how small they start, because what you're really building is stability, and stability is the soil where true wealth grows. Previously, we talked about the importance of building multiple streams of income just to grow your wealth, but to protect it. But to truly thrive in the 3%, there's one more crucial ingredient: the mindset you feed daily. Because here's the truth: formal education may help you earn a living, but it's self-education that teaches you how to build a fortune. The real gap between the 97% who stay stuck and the 3% who rise isn't just measured in bank balances. It's seen in what they allow into their minds day after day. Wealth isn't just about numbers. It's a way of thinking, a mindset that's cultivated through ongoing learning and personal growth. When I was just starting out, I realized something fast. If I wanted to change my financial reality, I had to first change what I fed my mind. Most people spend hours consuming entertainment TV shows, social media, distractions that pass the time but drain their focus. But the wealthy, they study the game. They read books about money, they listen to financial mentors, they observe successful people not with envy, but with curiosity and purpose. They choose learning over entertainment. It shows, think of your mind like a garden. If you plant weeds, mindless content, negativity, fear, you harvest struggle. But if you plant seeds of wisdom, discipline, and strategic thinking, the result is growth. The result is wealth. It's not about becoming a financial expert overnight. It's about building a habited daily practice of feeding your mind something that stretches it, strengthens it, and shifts your perspective. I remember starting with just 10 minutes a day, reading a chapter from a book on personal finance, or listening to a short podcast from someone smarter than me. It didn't feel like much at first, but over time, those minutes added up. Those ideas took root. My decisions changed. My outcomes changed. My life changed. The key: consistency. Don't wait until you're rich to start learning about money. Don't wait until you have time. Build it into your routine now. Choose to learn from those who've already walked the path. Model their mindset and adopt their habits. Wealth starts in the mind, long before it ever shows up in your bank account. So if you want to change your financial future, stop feeding your distractions and start feeding your mind, because smart learning leads to smart action. And smart action, that's what builds real wealth. But here's the thing, even knowledge needs direction. That's why the next major shift is about turning your dreams into goals. Dreams are beautiful, but dreams alone won't build wealth. What transforms a dream into reality is clarity, a goal that's written down, clearly defined, and given a deadline. Early on, I had big dreams, but without specific targets, my energy was scattered like leaves in the wind. It wasn't until I sat down, wrote out exactly what I wanted, and gave it a timeline that things started to change, because suddenly, every decision had a purpose. Every action had meaning. The 3% don't just hope for wealth, they plan for it. Their goals are specific, measurable, and deeply personal. It's not just, I want to be rich. It's, I want $100,000 saved in 12 months for a down payment, because I want to give my family stability. And why? That's what fuels them. Once you tie your goals to your values, whether it's freedom, legacy, security, or contribution, you find a fire inside that keeps you going, even when life gets tough. Then the secret becomes this: break your big goal into tiny steps. You don't summit a mountain in one leap. You climb it one step at a time. Want to save more? Put away an extra $20 this week. Want to learn more? Watch a 15-minute video today. Want to cut expenses? Skip one unnecessary purchase tomorrow. These tiny habits create momentum, and momentum keeps your vision alive. Each morning, remind yourself what you're working toward. Visualize it, feel it, let it energize your day. Because when your mind has a target, it starts working behind the scenes to get you there. That's how clarity turns potential into progress. Without clear goals, your finances will drift. With them, you'll move with purpose, and wealth becomes a byproduct of your alignment. And here's something even more powerful. Wealth isn't truly wealth until it's shared. Keeping everything you've learned and achieved to yourself limits its power. But when you start passing that knowledge to others, your children, your friends, your team, something beautiful happens. Your success multiplies. I still remember the first time I talked openly about money with my family. It was uncomfortable at first, but powerful. Not only did it help them, it deepened my own understanding. Sharing your journey, mentoring someone eager to grow, or simply talking to your kids about smart money, habits all plant seeds, but something you pass on. And when you invite others into your journey, you gain something else. Accountability. Tell someone your goals, and suddenly you've got a support system. People who will cheer you on, and maybe, just maybe, call you out when you start to slip. It's easy to be inconsistent when you're alone, but when you're part of something bigger, your discipline strengthens. When you're part of a community, when you have someone to challenge you, support you, and keep you accountable. Everything changes. It's no surprise that the people who talk openly about their goals, who invite feedback and mentorship, often move faster and go further than those who try to figure it all out on their own. Wealth is not a secret to hide. It's a story meant to be shared. It's a tool powerful when used not just to uplift yourself, but to empower others. While the 97% focus on consumption, comparison, and secrecy, the 3% do the opposite. They teach, they share, they stay open. They build accountability into their routines because they know money becomes something greater when it multiplies through people, not just through profits. Yes, build your wealth, but also build the people around you. Share what you're learning, talk about your struggles and your wins. Let others see that wealth isn't just a finish line, it's a way of living. When you stay accountable not just to yourself, but to those who believe in you, your success becomes more than a moment. It becomes a movement, but there's one challenge that separates these two groups more than anything else: the ability to delay gratification. Most people live in a loop of "I want it now." They chase the weekend, the quick upgrade, the instant purchase. That's why 97% stay broke, because they sacrificed long-term freedom for short-term pleasure. But the 3%, the wealth builders, they know something different. Wealth is a long game. It's not just about money, it's about time. It's about choices. It's about learning to say no now, so you can say yes to something far greater later. I remember when I started out, I faced those same temptations. The flashy car, the new gadget, the night out to impress others. But I made a choice. I chose to invest not in appearances, but in my future. It wasn't always easy. It wasn't glamorous, but it was smart. That $300 I didn't spend on one fun night, it went into stocks, into my business, into courses and books, and over time, it grew, slowly, steadily, with compound interest doing its quiet, powerful work. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't expect a harvest tomorrow. He waters, he nurtures, he waits, and when the harvest finally comes, it's worth it. Wealth is just like that. Every time you postpone a purchase, you're planting a seed. Every dollar you save is a future opportunity. Every bit of delayed gratification is a small investment in your freedom. The 3% don't worry about keeping up with others. They focus on building a life they define. Every dollar not wasted is a worker in their financial army, sent out into the world to build something meaningful. So ask yourself, what can I delay today that will set me free tomorrow? That question alone could change everything, because here's the truth I want you to leave with. Wealth is not some hidden treasure reserved for the lucky few. It is the natural result of clear habits, daily discipline, intentional choices, and a mindset rooted in patience and purpose. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they lack intelligence, opportunity, or ambition. It's because they misunderstand what wealth really requires. They chase excitement instead of value. They spend blindly instead of planning intentionally. They let money slip through their fingers, then wonder why nothing changes. But the 3%, they choose a different path. They pay themselves first, they track every dollar. They invest in knowledge, in skills, in themselves. They build systems that make progress automatic. You have that power. 2, your financial future isn't controlled by the economy, your employer, or your current income. It's controlled by the habits you choose today. This isn't about overnight wins. It's about daily, purposeful effort, brick by brick, step by step. When you automate savings, when you set clear goals with real deadlines, when you learn to wait for the bigger reward, you begin to rewrite your financial story. And when you serve others, solve real problems, and expand your impact, you build something far bigger than a paycheck. You build a legacy. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just listen. Don't just hope. Take action. Start tracking your money this week. Set one financial goal with a real deadline. Automate your savings even if it's just $5. Read one page of a wealth-building book today. Teach one. It's not a lottery ticket. It's a journey, and it rewards the patient, the consistent, and the bold. So decide now. You will be one of the 3%. You will think differently. You will act decisively. You will build the kind of freedom that lasts not just for you, but for the generations after you. The future you want. It's waiting for you on the other side of the choices you make today. Make them count. So now, you've seen the roadmap. You've learned what separates the 3% from the 97% and it's not luck, background, or a winning lottery ticket. It's daily habits, long-term thinking, and the courage to live by principles, not just paychecks. Wealth isn't a mystery anymore. It's not something you have to hope for. It's something you can build step by step, choice by choice. So, what's next? That part is up to you. You can close this video and go back to old patterns. Or you can make a new decision today to learn, grow, and teach others along the way. To build systems that run on days when you feel like quitting. Because real freedom isn't bought, it's built, and the best time to start is now. So if this message spoke to you, subscribe to this channel. If you're ready to take action, hit like and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And in the comments, tell me the one habit you're going to start today. Just one. That's how momentum begins. Let's grow together. Let's build legacies, not just incomes, but shaped by the powerful decisions you make, starting right here, right now. Because wealth isn't the goal, it's the result. The result of who you choose to become. Thank you for watching, and welcome to the 3%.